Thank you, Global Heart Choir. Good morning. Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living San Jose. Good morning. My name's Ted Mitchell. I am a part of your production team here. I'm also a practitioner in training. But this is my most sacred role that I get to play this morning, where I get to be host. And I get to welcome you to my spiritual home, Center for Spiritual Living San Jose. Now, I know some of you are out there going, oh my God, that's the guy who told the live streamers to put their pants on a couple weeks ago. Don't worry. It's against my constitution to tell the same joke twice. I'll just keep referring to it over and over again. But before we get started today, I wanted to take a quick informal poll. How many of you here in attendance have had their lives transformed in one way or another since attending CSL? Say aye. Say aye. And how many of you in attendance have maybe attained a dream, realized a dream, getting closer to achieving a dream since coming here to CSL? Say aye. And how many of you in attendance today have had love revealed to you in one way or another since coming to CSL? Say aye. That's what we do here. That's what we're up to. And all we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by simply changing your mind. If you didn't get a chance to say aye, let me be the first person to welcome you to Center for Spiritual Living San Jose. It's probably your first time here. And if that's the case, we have a concierge team out there in Fellowship Hall who are willing and able to answer any questions you might have. We also have welcome packets for you in the foyer, so you can grab those on your way out. Live streamers, I didn't forget about you. Your moderator today is Chuck. So Chuck, thank you for taking that on. I have this great idea that I want to share. I'm going to try to push this back by your core council. But wouldn't it be great if the moderator went on the road and he would go and surprise one live streaming household every Sunday morning, and we'll have a film crew follow them around. We'll watch it up here, and so it'd be like Publisher Clearinghouse, when they go up to with balloons, and Max or Chuck will come in, make pancakes for you, moderate from the kitchen. And when they come to the door, I'm just going to say, I told you to put pants on. Okay, I'm done with that joke. All right, let's celebrate being in community with one another. Say hi to your partners, and thanks for being here.
My name is Peggy Lambden. I'm a practitioner emeritus here at the center, and I'm also your practitioner of the day today. As we settle into the sweetness of this time in our service, let us join together in speaking our intentions. After we have spoken our intentions, we'll have 2 minutes of silence, and I'll follow that by giving an affirmative prayer. Please repeat after me. I hold in my heart the children and volunteers in our youth program.
I hold in my heart the children and
and the members of our community who aren't here today. I hold in my heart our loved ones. And those who have gone before us. And those who have yet to arrive. I hold in my heart all who need healing. I hold in my heart a world free of homelessness. A world free of violence. A world free of hunger. A world free of separation. I hold in my heart all beings. And the vitality of the planet that we share. And a world that works for everyone. I feel the global heart beating in me. As me. Right here. Right now. It has been said that the power that holds the universe holds me. And here in this very special time, I feel that power. I clearly recognize it to be God, first cause, absolute, the all-knowing one. And I know that as I take this time this morning to lift my vision, my awareness up to that place where the secret place of the Most High is, that we are truly at one in consciousness. Here in this sanctuary, here in this building, with all the people who are watching, with all those who will listen later, I know that the sweetness of spirit, that the calmness and joy of spirit, and that the love of spirit is moving within, through, and as everyone. I feel that presence right here and right now. I feel it as it cascades through the walls, through the ethers of this very room. And I just feel eternally grateful that that power for good in the universe holds me all the time, no matter where I'm at or what I am doing. So right here, right now, in this holy place, I release and I let go, knowing that the power that holds the universe is holding me, is holding you, and is holding all of us. And together we say, and so it is. Please join me in the affirmation for November. The doorway to ever-increasing opportunities for self-expression is open before me. I am continually meeting new and larger experiences. Every day brings some greater good. I am prospered in everything I do.
Good morning. My name is David Rodriguez, and I'm very thankful and I feel very privileged to have this time to have a brief conversation with you and meet you all. Originally, I'm from Mount Shasta, California. I was born and raised there. doing mountain biking and swimming and snowboarding, everything up there. But spiritually, I was raised Christian up until about age 9, and then Catholic up until about age 11. And then I stopped going to church because it wasn't cool, and I wanted freedom and wanted to go play, so I went and played through high school and college. In college, I came back to a Baptist church, and I was really amazed by the stories in the Bible that talk about the inner man, so I was really touched there, and so I got more involved. I moved to Korea. I taught English in Korea for about 8 months. And while I was there, I met a businessman who happened to be an elder there who invited me to work for his biotechnology company in New York. So I said, okay, let's go to New York. We did that. I lived there for about 3 months, and then the company moved back to California. And in about a year, the company ran out of money. And so that kind of rocked my world because the company had some really great technology, great people, was a bright future, and all of a sudden, I'm not working with them any longer. So I started asking God, what am I supposed to learn from this, God? I started thinking long-term about my life. And one thing I was learning about myself was that I wasn't being true to myself. I was actually living a false life, kind of living how someone else wants me to live, right? Rather than pursuing what I truly wanted. And so I began doubting my deepest beliefs and testing them against my heart. Asking myself, do I really believe this? Right? Do I really believe in eternal hellfire? Is that what I believe? And I couldn't believe it any longer. And so, although I still love the people, from that church, I had to say goodbye. But maybe I'll return, maybe I won't. That was about 3 years ago. And since that, the last 3 years have been really exciting and very joyful. And I started taking some empowering courses like the Landmark Forum, the Personal Success Institute, Evolving Out Loud, and also the Foundations course here at the center, where I was reminded that I'm already connected to God, right? I'm already connected to my source. There's nothing blocking me, which I had originally been taught. And so I started accepting people as they are, stop judging people for their beliefs, and just be with their humanity, right? We're all individuals and human beings, and so I wanted to be with them in that way. And so with this new spiritual freedom, I allowed myself to dream for myself and kind of forget about my parents, forget about the church, and just what about myself? Like, what is my dream here? And I started seeing the word purpose, as I started reading more books and, studying really powerful people, is they always have a strong purpose. And so I decided my purpose is to empower the minds of young people. And so one way I would do that, I will start a school that allows students to pursue what they're naturally interested in. And so this is naturally a very large dream, which will take a lot of resources and research and energy, but I wanted to create a project that was aligned with this dream. So I started the Education Options Expo, where I would have speakers talk about different educational models like Montessori, homeschooling, unschooling, these really empowered models. And when you hold an event like this, there's a lot of problems, and one of the problems is a venue, right? Where are you going to hold this event? And so I was about 2 days before I was going to sign a contract with De Anza College, and my friend Nancy introduced me to Dr. David over there in the hallway. And I have warm thoughts every time I think about it, because I shared my idea about the expo, and he liked it. He said, why don't you have that here at the center? And I said, oh my gosh. And right then I thought, this man is from God, man. This guy is for me. And so I was so touched and really just, really joyful about that memory. And so within the last 8 months, we've held 2 expos here, one in March and one about a month ago. And I'm very hopeful about the future and what the possibilities are. And so I'm truly grateful to all of you in this community. Your love and support has really made a difference in my life. So thank you.
Yeah. Good morning, choir. Good morning. You are all fantastic. I'm extremely grateful that you're here. Forgive me for singling one out, but she's come back to visit, and I really want to acknowledge. I don't know if you know that Michelle married a man, and the two of them are creating some amazing experiences as they're jaunting around the world. She now lives in Singapore, and she was coming here to visit, and she realized when she was going to visit was Choir Sunday, so she wrote to Michelle and said, is there any way I can rehearse before I get here? And apparently they don't know Michelle. I'm sorry, the other Michelle Jordan. And so she came from Singapore to sing in our choir today. Michelle. It's good to have you back in the house. Good morning, everybody. A very good morning to you. Happy November. I can hardly believe it's November. It seems like summer just barely should be starting. And Halloween's over. And thank you for bringing all your extra Halloween candy here so that we can look at it all week long. I'm very grateful to you. Very, very grateful to you. I'm also grateful at the way that life seems to work its way out. Michelle Jordan and the choir are singing lots of traditional type songs with the word Lord, Lord, and Lord. And my sermon notes start with, there is no God supervising a human kingdom. So I thought, oh my goodness, we have a dilemma. And then I realized that's exactly what we face every day in the real world. We're constantly faced with the dilemma. The dilemma is the ongoing paradox that exists in the spiritual world. To realize that there is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it, and your life may appear to be falling apart. To realize that there is limitless supply available to everyone, and there are people in this room who are going through bankruptcy and foreclosure. To realize that the thing itself is vibrant and health and life itself, and there are people in this room who are facing life-threatening illness. Paradox. Paradox and ambiguity. As we mature spiritually, as a community, we're becoming more and more comfortable with paradox and ambiguity. Like, there is no big daddy in the sky, praise God. You guys know what I'm talking about? And to have a little bit of lightness with it, because no matter what we talk about today, there's going to be a counterpoint next week because we're talking about the thing itself, which is everything. And I think the only thing that we really can do at any given moment is to take whatever may be applicable based upon what's going on in our lives right now and apply it. Try it on and see if it fits. See if it works. And if it doesn't, try another one, because there are plenty of tools to be had. In our Tuesday night Inward Journey year-long mystic exploration class, in which there is a mixture, there's 50 people in this course, and 50 people are comprised of ministers and practitioners and folks who have no desire to be ministers or practitioners. And so in this room together are folks from the very broad spectrum of desires and applications and perspectives. And what we're really coming to terms with, what we're grappling with, and we're grappling in this course on how it is that we might design a new life. Our topic today is designing a new life. And designing a new life as a topic emerges from our book of the year, which is A New Design for Living. And this designing a new life is very clear that we're not trying to materialize spirit or spiritualize material, because spirit and matter are one and the same. But folks stumble into trouble when trouble stumbles into them, and we reach outward hoping that some deity might be close enough to hear that might intervene and take care of our maladies. And for some, we have immediate results. And for others, the results never never happen the way one might think, which causes a sense of disappointment, frustration, anger, and disenfranchisement. Our chapter, called Designing a New Life, is only one paragraph long, and it's a mighty paragraph. In this paragraph, we learn that there is no difference between the essence of form and the essence in form, because the essence of form, in form, is form. And I thought, wow, I got a new favorite chapter. For those of you who don't know, page 52 of the Science of Mind, page 52 of the Science of Mind text. It's the last full paragraph on page 52. If you don't have the Science of Mind text, you can check in the gift shop after service, and you don't have to buy the book. You can leaf through it. Page 52, last chapter. Last paragraph. That summarizes the science of mind and spirit as I know it. So, I was thinking, how am I going to talk about we are not spiritualizing matter or materializing spirit, because there's no such thing as a spiritual control of a material universe as though spirit were separate from it. There is no such thing as a spiritual control of a material universe as though spirit were separate from it. But don't I sometimes try to spiritualize a material universe, or try to get the thing itself to descend upon the form or the formless, And then I realized, oh my God, David, you're in your head. Get out. Get out of your head. So, I learned a long time ago to love places like this, wherein they say, change your thinking, change your life. Because that opened doorways for me. Because I used to go to a church a long time ago that kind of required me to park my brain at the door. So I loved that I didn't have to park my brain at the door. And then I come here, and after 20 years of a center like this, I realize, change your life, stop your thinking. Paradox and ambiguity. Well, how is it that I'm going to design a new life? Well, in this Tuesday class, the thing that we're grappling with the most is a very simple premise. And the premise is that the best way to get your spiritual mojo going, the very best and easiest and most powerful way to get your spiritual juices flowing, to melt your spiritual butter and to float your spiritual boat, the best way to do that is to praise everyone and everything. Praise everyone and everything. And if you decide that you want to try this on or take it on, I'm becoming a prophet. I prophesy that when you take on praising everyone and everything, you're going to be surrounded by morons and idiots and all kinds of politically incorrect statements like stupid people. You're going to be like Reverend Susan going, I see stupid people. Which are all blessed children of God. Because you're taking a stand for a possibility, but the possibility doesn't exist in outward form that's going to come to you like you're going to get it in the mail, or it's going to be, drawn to you like you'll catch it, or it will descend upon you and it'll hit you. No, those types of things emerge from within your own beingness. It emerges from within outward. And the way that it emerges, I have found out, is because it's triggered for something that appears to be its opposite. This is what I've discovered over and over and over again. When I am praying to praise everyone and everything, I'm going to be faced with lots of things not to be praised, lots of people not to be praised. So when I say I'm going to praise everyone and everything, I'm not going to be surrounded by people who are always praiseworthy or things that are praiseworthy. Au contraire, I'm often confronted with opportunities to actually move into praise because right now I'm not feeling praise. Now, your mind may not be able to wrap your mind around that. I get it. But your soul gets it. Your soul gets it. And most of the difficulty actually doesn't happen between you and God. It happens between the committee and this little journey that happens between your heart and your head space. For me, anyway. The best way for me to design a new life is to keep tracking the light, no matter how faint. Track the light, no matter how faint. It was 9 years ago, on the first Sunday in November, and I know this because I looked in my notes. I looked in my computer notes. I was able to actually find out the last time I talked about this particular film. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, I was folding T-shirts. I had a lot of them to fold, and I like to fold T-shirts. And when I'm doing laundry, I like to usually have a movie playing in the background. It's a movie that I'm familiar with. I don't like to have new movies going on while that's happening because I'm not really paying attention. But a movie that I've seen a lot, or TV shows that I happen to be fond of, like Sex and the City or Desperate Housewives, I can play them over and over again because it's like having my sisters in the house. You know, there's voices, there's sound, and I'm familiar with it, but it doesn't require a lot of attention, but I'm not alone, and it keeps my mind it keeps my mind from being scary. You guys have that too? Some of you do, yeah. So the film that was playing, a DVD that I had put in was Calendar Girls. Calendar Girls. It's an English film. And Calendar Girls is from 2007. Calendar Girls, 2005. Calendar Girls. It's an English film about a group of middle-aged women in England. They're friends, very diverse in their viewpoints and in their lifestyles. But what they have in common is community and the WI, the Women's Institute of Knavely, which is the town in which they live in Yorkshire, England. One of the husbands of one of the women develops leukemia. And while he's going through his treatment, the women come to visit, and they realize that there's a tiny little sofa in the waiting room, and there's not a leukemia ward in this hospital. And they decide they want to raise money to get a better sofa. And they didn't know how they're going to raise money to get a better sofa. They thought, well, they'll just do another calendar, and they always do calendars. They do calendars every year. And the last calendar they did raised 78 British pounds, which back then was about $100 US. But they decided they were going to try something a little outrageous, and they developed a different type of calendar. And if you don't know what it is, then you should check this out later on. But that's because that's not the point. The point that I'm telling you this is, eventually this man passes away. And before he had passed away, though, he had written some things about the women of Yorkshire, that he was going to be reading to the local WI, the Women's Institute, about how beautiful the women there are. But he never had a chance to, so they read it at the funeral. And at the funeral, all of the women showed up in black. They were all wearing black, but they were all carrying each one large, very bright yellow sunflower. And one of them handed the widow her sunflower, and then the widow put the sunflower on top of the casket, and then we hear someone read this. The flowers of Yorkshire are like the women of Yorkshire. Every stage of their growth has its own beauty, but the last phase is always the most glorious. Which makes it ironic that my favorite flower isn't even indigenous to the British Isles, let alone Yorkshire. I don't think there's anything on this planet that more trumpets life than the sunflower. For me, that's because of the reason behind its name. Not because it looks like the sun, but because it follows the sun during the course of the day. The head tracks the journey of the sun across the sky. It's like a satellite dish for sunshine. Wherever light is, no matter how weak, these flowers will find it. Wherever light is, no matter how weak, a sunflower will find it. When I think about designing a new life, we should all be sunflowers. Wherever light is, no matter how weak, we should find it. Today we have an altar that's over here. It's the Dia de los Muertos. It's an altar to the Day of the Dead. in Mexico and in other Latin American countries, and also Hispanic and Spanish countries in Europe and elsewhere. They typically have, traditionally, on the 31st of October, the 1st of November, and the 2nd of November, big celebrations to celebrate the dead. They believe that this triad of days, the 31st being All Hallows Even, and the first being All Hallows Day or All Saints Day, and the second being All Souls Day, is the window in which our departed come back into the human world as we know it and are available for consultation, for visitation, and for comfort. That little window is the time in which people celebrate their departed. Sort of a Latino Memorial Day. And they put out sugar skulls and chrysanthemum flowers, and they dress up in costumes, and you will find that people put food and pan de muerto, which is bread of the dead, on grave sites, and some people even sleep in the graveyards on the grave of their departed. It becomes a big celebration. So some of the Latino ladies here and Latino lovers here, Debbie Slayton and Sarah Moselle and Sandra de la Torre and Sandra's mother, created an altar for you and for me to bring maybe pictures of your departed, or to turn on one of those electronic candles in memory of somebody. And sometimes your ancestor is an old you too. You know, the part of you that departed. There's papers here if you want to write the name of somebody or in celebration or in honor, and you can leave that before you leave today. We will leave this up until Thursday morning. So Wednesday night, if you want to come for satsang, which is we sit in silence for half an hour together. If you want to come on Wednesday night, you can also pay homage at the altar. So that's up there. That's up there so that we might find light. So I have a friend named Tom, and Tom is an amazing man. He's unstoppable. Tom is not particularly athletic, and but even though he's not athletic, he's unstoppable with sports, because we invite him to do things and he says yes, and we do it so we can just be entertained. He would say the same thing. Now, Tom, we say, Tom, do you want to ride a bicycle with us from San Francisco to Los Angeles? He says, sure. And then we say it the next year and the next year, and 8 years in a row, he keeps saying, sure. We say, hey, Tom, do you want to come water skiing with us? Yeah. Do you want to do the slalom? Yeah. Do you want to go snowboarding or snow skiing? Yes. Do you want to ride on a Segway? Yes. Well, Mauricio and I have fallen in love with Segways, and we take Segway tours a lot just for the fun of being on a Segway. And Segways, for those of you who don't know, are the two-wheeled, it's a two-wheeled gyroscope that's not much bigger in platform than this monitor right here, and it has a handle mostly for balance. And it's a stunning piece of technology. And in fact, it's becoming a stunning piece of technology in our world, in which it's becoming highly utilized by people who are paraplegic and can't get around. And even people who are quadriplegic can actually just shift their torso weight and drive this thing. It's amazing. You almost cannot fall off. So Mao and I have ridden one several times, and so we signed up through Groupon or Living Social for an advanced Segway tour into the hills of San Francisco, and they start out on Lombard Street. So you sort of go down on Lombard Street. Now Tom had never. You guys are ahead of me. So Tom had never been on a Segway, and they say you must be an advanced rider on Segways. You at least have had one tour before. And so he went the day before to Santa Cruz, which turned out to be one of those 97-degree days, and there were whales out there. And so the woman who was leading the tour, they would ride for like 5 minutes and stop and take pictures and talk to the locals, and then get back on the Segways and ride flat for like 5 more minutes. Tom didn't do a lot of riding. We didn't know about this until we were descending the hills in San Francisco with Tom in tow. Now, most of us who were on this tour were fearless, and we were like racing these things as fast as we could go, up to 12 miles per hour. You know, I took out my belt and I was smacking this thing, and it was just not having any of it. And we got to the bottom, we're like looking, and Tom was like way, way at the top of the hill, but Tom wasn't like this. Tom was like squatting down and holding on to the rail like this. And he was going as slow as you could possibly go. We even took out our phones to videotape this as he was coming down. And what he didn't know, he didn't know that he was not in danger. He was not in danger. But the stories in his head were creating danger for him, to the point that he could no longer ride. He actually got off at the bottom and he handed it over to our instructor and said, "I'm walking." And he walked back to the base camp. And then our instructor put one foot on Tom's and one foot on his, and then rode 2 Segways. It was amazing to watch. Youth. I'm telling you this because Tom's not here. And because Tom is a good man who fell prey to his fears. So I was grateful that I wasn't afraid. Just really grateful. I'm feeling a bit smug about it. Until that afternoon, it was time for me to ride my motorcycle, which has been stored at our condos in Oakland, here to our new home in South Bay. And all of our other vehicles were now down here. But it was time for me to get my motorcycle here. And I'm not fond of riding my motorcycle in traffic. I love being on the freeway at 70, 80 miles an hour, but not when traffic slows down. Because when I took my motorcycle safety courses with the California Highway Patrol, what I learned from the Highway Patrol is the worst thing a motorcyclist can do on a freeway is stop. That's the most dangerous thing you can do, is stop. So when traffic comes to a stop, the CHP was teaching us, you actually should split lanes because it's dangerous for a motorcyclist to be stopped on a freeway. Well, I don't like doing that because I don't want to split lanes. This is where suddenly my smugness began to, I thought, oh, this is my Segway. I was on that motorcycle on 880 when it came to a stop, and I was suddenly scared because I thought, I don't want to split traffic, and I'm not going to stop my motorcycle. What am I going to do? And then motorcyclists kept passing me and passing me and passing me, and I was just like a total sissy, like, and passing me and passing me. And then I flashed on Tom, and I remember Tom was not in danger. I'm watching all these other motorcyclists. I'm not either. And then I heard this voice like Emma Curtis Hopkins in our Tuesday night class saying, "Command my body and command this motorcycle to split the lanes." And traffic just started to move aside. And I'm not kidding. I was able to just zip through fearlessly and grateful that something had happened, see? Something had happened. Do any of you ever have conversations in your head? Like, I don't want to do this. I'm scared. I wish this wouldn't have happened. I wonder how many traffic signals. Should I just get off the freeway? Maybe I can go along Mission Boulevard or something. And there's conversations. And at the same time, there's a voice going, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." And then some other voice just said, "Command my body and command this motorcycle to split traffic and get to San Jose." And traffic just began to split. And I realized, this is designing a new life. Command your life. Tom may have been justified in his fear, like me, justified in mine too, but those kind of fears, when we're not really in danger, paralyze us. There are people in this room who have those fears about unwritten stories or unrequited love, and the stories in your head about your fear keep you paralyzed. No matter how weak, track the light, and something will come from it. My mother-in-law, Carmen, she's fun. She doesn't speak a word of English. She thinks she does, but she doesn't. Not even a little bit. Not even a tiny little bit. And we've been on many cruises with Mao's mom and dad. And this one in particular was a lot of fun. I got to watch Carmen, how she will find even the tiniest little bit of light, and she tracks it. Tiny little light. She tracks it such that it alters what's happening. We were on a particularly long cruise, and what I noticed about my mother-in-law is that every day she would come to breakfast with 2 containers of pills for the day. One is the pills for Fernando, Mao's father, and one is the pills for her, for their various issues and such. And she would always take a platter in the morning and sit down at the breakfast table, take a platter, not a plate, a platter, oblong, and she would gently dump Fernando's daily rations on one side, and she would dump hers on the other. And then she would take a knife and she would separate the pills. And then she would divide those into morning, afternoon, evening, and bedtime portions. And then she would put those little containers in her pocket, and she was ready to go. Well, one morning she had dumped all of his on one side and all of hers on the other. And when she smacked down with the knife, all the pills rose up and mixed together and came down in a pile. Yeah, but Carmen has this ability to find even the lightest bit of light and to track it. She went, give them all to your father. and he survived. He was okay. We just kept handing him pills. He kept... wouldn't it be great to have that, just sort of that attitude, well, whatever, not fret about it. We were in Alaska. And it was summertime in Alaska, so the sun was out. It was probably 65 degrees. Now, Fernando's in his 90s, Mal's father, and he always wears a full-length coat, and he loves this Russian fur hat. It's a fur hat with the flaps on it, like the flaps that come all the way down. And so he wears his fur coat and gloves, under which is a jacket, and under that is a sweatshirt, and under that is a long-sleeve shirt. And still, while you're in Alaska and it's 60 degrees, he's like going, it's so cold. Now, Fernando never participates in conversations, ever. Never. At dinner, he says nothing. He makes no contributions to the conversations at all. And so I often wonder, why does he want to go with us everywhere? Well, here's what I learned. He doesn't make a contribution, but he is contributed to by people's presence. He does not want to be left alone. He just wants to be around people. And so before we went on this cruise, we bought an adult-sized stroller. It's different than a wheelchair because the stroller is like, if you've ever seen a kid stroller that has this sling-type strollers, picture that, but blow it up, make it really big, and put tires on it that have to be pumped up, and they have knobs on them like mountain bike tires, and then Mal put mountain bike handlebars and handbrakes on this thing. We could take him anywhere in Alaska. We put him on a helicopter and took him out onto a glacier, right? He slept the whole time, but he was with us. So we had him in this stroller, and we went into the Cartier store because we wanted to pay homage to the gods. And we were in the Cartier store, and Mauricio and his mother were trying on watches, and I noticed that Fernando was asleep, as he often is, but he's with us, and he's content. But he had fallen asleep, and he was with his mouth wide open. Now, what had happened was his upper plate had dropped and met his lower plate, so his mouth was wide open, but his teeth were closed. So it was the strangest thing I'd ever seen in my whole life. So I tapped Carmen. I said, Mama, Papa. And she looked, and she apparently tracked a little bit of light because she took and she slammed his mouth shut. And then she took the flaps of his hat and she tied them in a knot. So his mouth was out like this. And then she went right back to looking at watches. And I realized, that's sometimes how we have to deal with life. Something comes up, fix it, manage it, and then get on with it. In the meantime, Fernando's like going... There's lightness to be found everywhere. Really, it's to be found everywhere. Yeah. You should go with us next time we go. It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun. Our book of the month leads us to know that spiritual mindedness is a persistent and continuous attempt to feel and sense and believe and experience the thing itself. To be spiritual minded is a consistent attempt, not just to believe, but to feel and experience and intuit and be in the presence of the thing itself. Continually looking for it, constantly tracking the light, no matter how faint, no matter how small. Our job is to take it on. And I'm hoping you will join me this week as we take that on. Our job is to be like a sunflower and literally track the light wherever we see it. And that will begin, I'll bet you, that will begin the development of a new design for living. Let's pray together. I'm grateful right now for this room and for David on the piano, Michelle Jordan directing the choir, Billy on the drums, Dwayne on bass. I'm grateful for those of us who are in this room and those who are watching online. I'm grateful for those who are listening to this MP3 recording, whether you're at the gym or in your car or running around Almaden Valley. I'm grateful for Tom Nixon for his unstoppable fearlessness. I'm grateful to Carmen and Fernando for bringing light to my life every day. I'm grateful for this community who is taking on the greatest new design for living, and that is to praise everyone and everything. So the word that I speak, which is really what this prayer is, this prayer is not asking God, begging God, beseeching God. This prayer is declarative and me speaking my word. And I learned from my dad, Kenneth Bruner, a long time ago, that my word matters and that I should keep my word always. And so I take a spiritual stand for the people that matter to me, you within earshot. And this prayer is me giving my word, my promise, that the following is happening in your lives. Peaceful recreation, abundance, love and possibility, reconciliation, forgiveness and transformation, a letting go of the past, a releasing and insistence upon the future, and instead a peaceful beingness in the present. Now, because there's no God or devil that's opposed to this, there's no will of God that is opposed to this, my word is God's will. And that means the things about which I just spoke are now ours. And that's the stand for which I take. That's the word that I give. That's the promise that I hold. And that is my intention. And I'm grateful. And so it is. So we're now in the month of November, which means Thanksgiving is just around the corner. And Thanksgiving always stirs in me a very excited opportunity to begin to assess what is it for which I'm really grateful. One way to begin to unleash or to break the logjam, if there's things in your life for which you're not necessarily grateful, is to call to mind things for which you're grateful. Before the ushers come and help us with the sharing of our gifts and tithes and offerings, before they do, would you please turn to someone next to you and tell them something for which you are right now grateful? Thank you. So many of us are grateful to Kansas City that they let the Giants win. What's that? Yeah, I know. Isn't life beautiful? I'm grateful for your generosity that keeps this center thriving. I'm very grateful. Not just your financial generosity. I'm grateful for the generosity of your prayers and your intentions, and that you bring your friends and guests who might benefit. And I'm deeply grateful for all the volunteers and their service and the way that you make an impact. Thank you. The ushers are going to come forward, and I ask you to say with me our giving affirmation together. I share my resources and talents with ease and grace. I use my good to love and serve the world.
Change things. I pray for you, you pray for me, and watch God change things. I pray for you.
Good morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, thank you, choir. You are fantastic. Thank you, musicians, Dave, Michelle. Thank you for making Sunday. For those of you I haven't met yet, I'm Reverend Susan. I'm your assistant minister here at the center, and I just want to share some brief announcements, let you know what's coming up this week. Please take home a bulletin, check our website, the information wall. There's always something going on for your spiritual amusement, and including me. And I'm going to turn it over to Marcia for a moment to tell you about new member class.
Hi, I'm Marcia Bencala, and talking about changing things. Being a member of this spiritual center is certainly one way in which you can deepen the spiritual transformation of your own life. And next Sunday, November 9th, from 1 to 3 p.m., we will be holding our new member orientation class. It's facilitated by Reverend David. It's fun, it's enlightening, it's free, and it is the only requirement that we have for membership. So if you're thinking about becoming a member, or if you're not, but you have a lot of questions, everybody is welcome. You can register online at cslsj.org, or you can come see me over in Fellowship Hall at the concierge desk after the service. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcia. So at 2 o'clock today, Reverend Maureen Ross is hosting a very special guest at her Let's Talk About group, and it will be William Pye. Will Pye is the guest speaker. He's the author of Blessed with a Brain Tumor, Realizing It's a Gift and Learning to Receive. He'll have a little Q&A, do a book signing. That's at 2 o'clock today. It'll happen right here in the sanctuary. Coming up this week, Wednesday night, as you know, we sit in the silence together for satsang with Reverend David. That begins at 6:30 every Wednesday. It's a beautiful way to experience silence within the community. New member class Marcia told you about. Beginning November 13th on Thursdays, Reverend Maureen is also hosting a group called The Big C and Beyond. And it's for those folks who are thriving, living with, and beyond a diagnosis of cancer. So there will be, I'm sure, some amazing and inspiring stories and an experience for folks. That's going to begin on the 13th. Reverend Maureen is here. If you have questions, you can see her after service. She'll be in Fellowship Hall. She's really busy this month because on the 15th, on Saturday the 15th, we have designated that day as Volunteer Appreciation Day, and we would love all of our volunteers, whether you sharpen pencils or usher on Sundays or sit in the booth. It takes a village, and you are all remarkable. And we'd like to honor you with a day of appreciation where we get to be in service to your spirituality, and that will be from 10 to 3 on Saturday, November 15th. And then on Sunday the 16th, we have a very special event that's coming back to the center. Some of you may remember that in June of this year, it was a Wednesday evening when we hosted Reverend Georgia Prescott and her group Authentic Voices, Our Stories. This is a diversity performance that is the most real, authentic, and funny thing I have ever seen to tackle such an amazing topic. We dived into. So the performers in that show tell their own stories of what it is to be a person of color, what it is to be a transgender person, what it is to be part of the gay or lesbian community. It's just remarkable what it is to be a gay minister. You know, in Sacramento, Reverend Georgia has amazing stories. She's actually our speaker that day. Dr. David will be here, but he's hosting her. And then at 1 o'clock, the performance, Authentic Voices, will take place right here. And then at 2 o'clock, like from 2 to 3:30, there will be a workshop called Authentic Voices, Your Stories, where we get a chance to be in dialogue and community with one another around this important topic. You can register for that online, and we hope you don't miss it because it's really powerful. It was so powerful. There were 50 people here in the summer, and everybody was clamoring, saying, we need more people. We have to bring this back for our whole community. So that's on Sunday the 16th. You can read about it. There's so much else coming up. We have the bowls at Thanksgiving. I want to take a moment. Clay, are you in the room? Clay Wilson, by any chance, are you here? Right there. Will you please stand? Clay Wilson has been a religious science practitioner for 14 years, and he has just announced his retirement as a practitioner. So will you take a moment to please honor Clay? It's a lot of prayer, Clay. Thank you. In your bulletin, you will find a ballot from our outreach team. Every year we poll our community to get your interest in where you would like this community to focus our outreach efforts in 2015. You can fill that out. There's ballot boxes in the foyer. It's two-sided, and there's one in Fellowship Hall. Just drop it off or hand it to any usher or bring it to the concierge. We would love to know where you would like us, where you would like to help put our focus for next year. And speaking of outreach, this month we have a project that's not being sponsored by the outreach team, but it's being sponsored by the community. Miranda is one of the Bali, I was going to say Bali babies, but that's like so wrong. Sounds like a Broadway show. How appropriate. During the month of November, we're collecting new cat toys for all the cats of Villa Kitty Bali. It's a rescue and adoption center in Bali for their abandoned cats and kittens. So you can find out more about it by looking at the website that's on your bulletin, but just bring kitty toys for the month of November, and you can turn them in. There's a table over by the window out there. So much. Two more things. Dr. David is celebrating his 15th anniversary this month as our senior minister. I know, right? We have a very special Sunday planned for him next week, which he knows nothing about. And I'm so happy about that. It's not easy to keep a secret from him. But please join us next Sunday, as that will be the official day next Sunday that we celebrate his 15th anniversary here with, I don't know, maybe something surprising. There will be cake. There will be cake, among other things. And what? I'm not done. At 1 o'clock today, but thank you for asking. At 1 o'clock today, you may remember me a couple months ago that I spoke to you about our Center Stage Productions, and we're bringing it back this year. This holiday season will be our first full-fledged production. We're doing It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio broadcast. We have 6 cast members from your community and lots of other folks. Our technical director is Linda Miyahira, and she will be starting today at 1 o'clock and every Sunday this month at 1 o'clock to start to create and build a set out in Fellowship Hall. So we really need hands to help make this happen. If you can wield a hammer, if you can lift things, especially today. Today's the most important day, because we've got to get the set pieces from upstairs and out there and whatnot. So 1 o'clock every Sunday for the rest of this month. If you can show up and help, that would be great. If you can't make it this Sunday but still want to help, please see me after service and I'll take your name and phone number. There'll be hammering and painting and amazing things. And if you have a birthday, thank you, this month, or if your birthday was yesterday like David's, would you please stand, because our ushers have a gift for you.
Happy birthday.
Would you all stand and take the hand of the person on your right and on your left? And before we say our closing affirmation, reminder that there are practitioners available for prayer if there's anything in your life for which you would like transformation. Please take advantage of that. As is our custom, would you please repeat after me? I am at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love. And so it is.